Hey everyone, so I promised yesterday I'd do a video as an example for the one I made prior, and you may be noticing it's a day later and I'm doing this. Yeah, I completely forgot. Combined with work and all that, it's been a lot on my mind. So, I decided to get this done before I forget again. So, here's a tutorial video for the newest welfare in the game, Miyamoto Iori. And trust me, he slaps. He is a DPS saber, and I'll be honest with you, after lots of playtesting, he's really damn good. All this is my footage. I had to go to the saber training grounds to get it all, so let's get it all started with. His first skill is like ice, which gives a star gathering buff for 3 turns, a crit buff for 3 turns, a crit star per turn buff for 3 turns, and a mental debuff resistance buff for 3 turns, all on a 6-turn cooldown at max. Yeah, this is really good, especially with the values. 500% for the star gather rate at max level, 10 stars per turn at max level, 30% crit damage buff for max level, and a really high 50% and mental debuff resistance buff for 3 turns. That's really niche, but it could be helpful, especially finding characters that like to spam mental debuffs, like Charm, Terror, Confusion, stuff like that. His second skill is called Crimson Codex, which gives a 20-30% battery, a 3-turn 10-20% attack up, a 10-20 star bomb, and a 3-turn 500 to 1000 damage burn on all enemies. Yeah, this is really nice as well, because 23% is almost the golden number for Buster TPSs, because combined with the second defense skill, you're able to go through a lot of stuff. The ability to use 50% craft essences to turn 1 Noble Phantasm, and with his Noble Phantasm, you're really going to want to do that. That 10 to 20% attack is nice. It's kind of the standard, but for welfare, that actually is pretty good. The 1000 damage burn is niche, but there are certain instances where you can use that, like Honeyed Lake, which gives damage bonus against anybody that's burned. And the Star Bomb is also nice because that also allows more crit synergy, especially with his first skill, like Ice. Iori's third and final skill is Blade of 5 Rings, which is a 10 to 20% rainbow buff, a 3-turn 500 damage cut, and a 2-hit 3-turn evade, all on a 6-turn cooldown at max. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, this smacks as well, which makes all of his skills really good. The defensive aspects of this are actually really nice. You don't usually see soft and hard defense, at least for DPS that speaks this hard into combat. The damage cut is actually really nice. It's the same as Waver's second skill, so he's able to reduce damage actually quite a bit more than you'd expect. The evade is really nice because this lets you do a fire and forget, because 2 hits, 3 turns gives Iori a lot of coverage in case things are going to go south. Plus, if he's ever in a solo, this also lets him basically get 2 hits free unless the opponent has Ignore Invincibility or Sure Hit, which it's kind of common late game, but for the most part, it's actually fine. The rainbow buff is really dope because with all the offensive buffs so far, our card buffs are kind of the only thing he would have had missing other than an anti-trait. So the fact he has a rainbow buff is actually really nice, especially for the coverage. 3 turns on a 6-turn cooldown means it's actually going to be up decently frequently. Iori's Noble Phantasm is Hidden Sword Soaring Brilliance, which is a Buster NP that gives a 20% and Quicken Buster up for 3 turns before damage, along with a 1-turn Sure Hit before damage, 10 to 30 stars depending on overcharge, as well as 6 hits to 1 opponent. The stars is dependent on overcharge. However, that's not the important part. Ironically enough, the stars is going to help for the turn after the one you use this on. That 20% Quicken Buster up, though, it's important. Mostly for the fact it's 3 turns and before damage, meaning not only does that ramp up quick, it's also capable of ramping up before damage, so combined with his own third skill, Blade of 5 Rings, yeah, he will do some mind-numbing damage on a DPS that is free, by the way. So, understand, simply put, you put him against any Lancer, they're being shredded. And unless they have an invul, you could throw an evade on there, but the one turn sure hit means he can get by any sort of evade. This is really nice to have because a good chunk of berserkers and lancers, characters you would bring him against normally to carry class advantage, usually have a form of evade that allows them to try and avoid damage. However, with the sure hit being before damage, he's able to nope past that defense and absolutely destroy them. Which is hilarious, because he also has his own 2-hit evade, meaning he can go after himself. All in all, as a DPS, Iori is busted. He has great face card synergy, his NP destroys anybody in a single target, plus the fact that he is sure hit before damage, means he also has challenge quest viability. He even has something that people that normally spec this much of attack don't have, which is defense. That 3-turn damage cut and 2-hit 3-turn evade on his 3rd skill. Literally, there's not much you would actually have to really look out for supports. Anybody that can help him with his crit damage, anybody that can give him better defense. You could try and go for Buster Reloading if you want to go meta. But all in all, as a DPS, he's perfect. For craft essences, there's not actually much you would have to really look out for as well. You can go for ones that give 50% charge, because go for a second append skill, he's able to turn 1 NP, which for a good amount of fights with his loadout is devastating. You could also just go for standard DPS as kits, as in craft essences. But really, Iori does so much, so well in his own base kit that there's really not much you have to look out for, as in if you're looking for a weakness to cover. The values are low, but then again, he's a 4-star welfare, so it makes sense they'd kind of lower it out. But all in all, this is a welfare that beats out almost every other DPS that isn't named Ryder Kentucky or Ryder Elizabeth when it comes to DPS power. Like, holy crap. Now, you can go for crit synergy, go for Holy Night's Supper, or at Tree Fest, things like that. Face card synergy, just go for crit damage. I'm stuttering quite a bit here because I'm having a hard time trying to think out for specific craft essences. Craft essences are usually something I usually look out for, because with Iori, you can just slap whatever on him and it works. The only one I don't think would be very viable on him is Black Grail, because he relies on face cards to get that MP back. But other than that, yeah.